Hi guys, and welcome to our last great adventure. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm Steve, and that over there is Nikki. I know, it's tough to see. She's black and the bark is black. Well, this is our second video, so again I'd ask for your patience and understanding because I'm a complete novice at this. So on our first video, I talked about my dreams and my hopes for what my last great adventure is going to be. And this time I want to talk a little bit about the perfect RV for me. Kind of go through my thought process as to what I'm trying to decide, what I think was going to work for me, what do I need, what do I want. So let's get started. Let's do a comparison of the different classes of RVs. I have had, as I mentioned before, 2 Class A's, 2 travel trailers, a Class B, and I have vacationed in a Class C. So I have some experience. Again, I'm not an expert at anything, so take all of this with a grain of salt. Just my opinion. Have not ever tried a fifth wheel. Just hadn't had the opportunity. So let's start with a Class A. Class A's are great. I mean, come on, they are luxurious, they're huge. As you're driving down the road, you're sitting up high. You have this great vista that's out before you. You rarely get surprised by something happening in front of you because you're up so high. They're comfortable. They have, everything is, depending on the RV, most things are automatic, automatic leveling jacks, automatic awning, automatic, you name it. So I loved it. We had a great time with it. We enjoyed both of them. They both had slides. The advantage is you're driving down the road, your partner can go and make you a sandwich, get you a drink, use the bathroom. As I said, as you pull into camp, literally you don't have to get out of the RV to set up. Especially if it's pouring down rain, just leave your toad hooked up and wait and do that then, when it stops raining. Really a lot of advantages. The storage typically in a Class A is you got lots and lots of storage, what they call the basement, which is outside storage bins. There's huge typically. So that's the pros to a Class A. And I guess you could even say that you don't have to, but most people, I think, they have what they call a toad, and that's just a car that you pull behind the RV. That's so you get to wherever you're going, you can get set up, and then you have a car that you can go and explore and go out to eat and that sort of thing, which is, in my mind, that's essential. It really, really is. So that's an advantage, and that's a disadvantage, because now you're talking about an RV that is, anywhere from 28 feet, which is a short one, to 42, maybe 43. They may go to 45, I'm not sure, but I know at least, well, I know the Prevost go up to 45. So you got a couple million, you can do that. So as you're driving down the road, to me this is one of the biggest disadvantages of a Class A. You're driving down the road and you see a vista, or you see something that looks really interesting and you want to go check it out. If you've got a 30, 40 foot motorhome, you're towing a car behind you, you're knocking 55, 60 feet. You're not going to be able to do that. In most cases you're not, just can't. So you have to say, well, when I get to my campsite, I'll come back to it. That's fine if it's close enough. Again, to me, that's the biggest disadvantage of a Class A. It's just that you need a toad. You can't back up a toad. You can back it up 2, 3, maybe 4 feet. Beyond that, you can't. So the other thing that you need to think about is that a lot of the state, county, and some federal campgrounds, you can't get in. A lot of them, kind of a good rule of thumb for most is if you're under 30 feet or under, you can get in. Some of them are 26 feet. So that's really something to consider depending on what kind of camping you want to do. So that's kind of, in my mind, the pros: comfort, visibility and driving, setup, let's go to a Class C, because they're similar in that both, something else I forgot to mention, but both in a Class A and a Class C, is you need to be concerned about the height of the rig. Some Class A's are knocking 12 feet. Class C's typically aren't that tall, but they're knocking 10 and a half, 11 feet, maybe a little bit more than that. So you need to be concerned or aware of driving down the road, especially if you get on some of the older roads, bridges. They don't have that kind of clearance. Pulling into a gas station. Quite often, the maximum height they have is 10 and a half feet. So, something to think about. Just be aware of, and you really have to plan. And then the other thing is, in my mind, with a Class C, you have some of the same issues, positive and negative. You know, your partner can get up, go to the bathroom, make you something to eat, get something to drink. That is nice. It really is. I know you're not supposed to. Don't do it. A lot of people are much more comfortable driving a Class C because it's closer to driving a pickup or a large van. You're not sitting up as high, so you don't have the visibility. You don't have this huge windshield that you can see forever. But that's okay. Again, some people appreciate that. Again, in my mind, a Class C, I'm probably going to be using it. I did when I used it for a vacation. I had a towed. I was towing a car behind it for the same reason. They're wide, they're tall. The length can go anywhere from about 22 to over 30 feet. So downtown parking, not too easy. Okay, next let's talk about travel trailers. I've had two. One was many years ago, 21 feet I think, and the other one was 27 or 28 feet. Travel trailers you can back up. They're typically not as tall as a Class C or Class A, so that's not usually an issue. The advantages is when you get to a campsite, you get set up, and then you have your tow vehicle, and you use that to go explore. And it is a home base with a trailer. It's kind of nice when you're out exploring all day long, or you've driven all day long, and you get to a campsite, and rather than going in the back in the same vehicle that you've been driving in all day long, you get out and you go into your trailer, and it's home. And that's nice. Don't get me wrong, that's nice. The other thing is, kind of a negative to that is, as you're driving down the road, if you need to go to the bathroom, or if you want to have lunch, you do have to stop. You have to get out, go into the trailer, and do that. So, as you kind of getting the feeling that, I mean, there's pros and there's cons to everything. Right? It just is. And what I'm telling you is by no way close to being total all the advantages and disadvantages. These are just comments and experiences that I had. So you'll talk to somebody else and they'll come up with a whole bunch of advantages or disadvantages. So take what I have to say with a grain of salt. Okay, I've given a lot of thought about a travel trailer. I really have. Okay, next one, let's talk about a Class B, or B and a B plus. We'll start with a B plus. What's a B plus? All right, a B plus, there's no such thing as far as the Department of Motor Vehicles is concerned as a B plus. They are a Class C. They are built on the same kind of a chassis as a Class C. The only difference, it's just a marketing thing. They came up with this design and they wanted to call it something different than a Class C. Class C, excuse me. The only difference is with a Class C, they have the overhead that goes over the cab, and usually it's a bed or entertainment system or storage or whatever. The Class B doesn't. There isn't a huge overhang over the cab. There may be a little one, but it's tapered. It's usually very aerodynamic. The Class B pluses are typically not quite as wide as the Class C. They are quite often a little bit shorter, and quite often they are a little bit narrower. So they are, in many respects, closer to a Class, but they're in between a Class C and a Class B. That's all I can say. I've given a lot of thought to a Class B. There's some real advantages. They're typically anywhere from 22 to 25 feet in length. You know, that's something that you're getting close because they're a little bit narrower, they're not quite as tall, that you could drive around in traffic. Parking can still be an issue, but maybe not, maybe not. Neat. Oh, there's a whole lot more storage in a Class B plus than there is a B. So let's talk about the Bs. Okay, the advantage of a B is that it's small and it's like it's driving a van. That's what it is. So you can get in and out of traffic, park pretty much anywhere you want to. They typically run anywhere from about 19.5 feet to about 24 feet. You see them all the time, so they're very comfortable. They have all the amenities that a Class A have, but just smaller, compact. You know, instead of having a shower and a toilet separate, you typically have what they call what they call a wet bath, which is a combination of shower and toilet. So you can, some of them you can stand up in, some of them you have to sit down to take a shower. That works for some people, and it doesn't work for other people. The other disadvantage of a Class B is their holding tanks are usually pretty small. Anyways, so that's something that you got to be aware of. You know, but if you're in campgrounds all the time, it doesn't make any difference. If you boondock, it does make a difference. Get around to, if you see a road that looks interesting to you, you can just drive down and check it out. No big deal. When you're driving through town, you want to stop, you just pull over and stop. The disadvantage of Class B is that it's small. In my mind, most Class Bs can accommodate 2 people if they really get along. In a Class B, you're really limited on your storage. Virtually most Class Bs don't have any or very little exterior storage. They usually have inside storage, can be okay. So, you know, there's plenty of storage for your clothes and your pots and pans and your food and that sort of stuff. But talking about barbecues or extra propane tanks or leveling blocks, you know, it becomes a challenge because you generate, the only significant storage you have is in the back, depending on the layout, underneath the seat, if there's a couch in the back. So, okay. Let's see, what else? Oh, fifth wheels. I really can't, I've never experienced a fifth wheel. So all I can talk about that is what I've heard, talked to people, what I've read. My understanding is fifth wheels tow a lot better than a travel trailer. They handle a lot better, they can back up a lot easier, their turn radius is a lot smaller, which makes sense, all of those things, because of the way they're towed. They are tall, typically. They can be as tall as a Class A, maybe even a little bit taller. The other positive side is that you've got tons and tons of storage in a fifth wheel. On the outside storage, the basement, lots of storage. On the inside, lots of storage. Fifth wheels, they come all different sizes. I think, again, I'm not that familiar with them, but typically, you know, you're probably looking at about 28 feet on up to over 40 feet. So you can get pretty much whatever you want. All right, so we talked about Class A's, B's, B pluses, C's, and fifth wheels, and trailers, travel trailers. Okay. Those are my thoughts, those are my observations and my opinions. So I know y'all out there are going to have different ones, and that's great. But that's just my opinion. Let's kind of narrow it down a little bit for me. I'm not interested in towing behind a Class A or a Class C. I just not interested in doing that. I really have given a lot of thought to a travel trailer and actually an Airstream. A lot of thought. So that is definitely on my list. A Class B plus is definitely on my list, and a Class B. That's to where I'm at, what I'm looking for. Those are the ones that are top of the list. And out of those, I have gone back and forth between the travel trailer and a Class B or B plus more than I can count. You would think, with all the RVs I've had, it would be an easy choice because I know the advantages and disadvantages. And maybe because I know the advantages and disadvantages, it's hard because there are some really advantages to all of them and some disadvantages to all of them. So what's important to me? Okay, and the style of traveling I'm going to be doing, I don't see myself staying in one particular spot very long. You know, a week probably the most, 10 days, no more than 10 days. But probably more often than not, it'll be 3 or 4 days, and then off to someplace else. I want to take a look at this country, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in any one given place. I want to be able to travel down the road, and if I see a logging trail or a road that I can get down in, I want to be able to take it. Or if I see a pullout or a vista point that I want to look at, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go into town, park at a restaurant, or parking not be an issue. So that really speaks strongly to the Class B, B plus. As far as the C is concerned, well, you're going to have a tow vehicle, so you go to the campsite, then you go out and you explore in your tow vehicle. But what I was thinking of, all right, so if I have a pickup truck, and the reason for the pickup truck rather than a SUV or something like that, is I would have the back for all the storage. Airstreams don't have generators, so I'd have to carry a generator and barbecue pit, all that kind of chairs, all that kind of stuff would go in the back of the truck, in the bed of the truck, put the cover over it. So I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, that pickup truck is pretty much going to be the same size, not as tall, but the same size as a Class B. So, you know, then what's the point? So, so you can see kind of where how my line of thought, my thinking has been going. Okay, where am I at today? To be honest with you, I'm not going to get the Airstream. It's between the Class B and a Class B plus, and probably leaning more to the B. But you know that some of the B pluses are beautiful, and they have decent storage. They're set up really, really well. Okay, so if we're talking B pluses and Bs, what are the manufacturers that I'm considering? Okay, B pluses, Leisure Travel and Pleasureway. Both make good, excellent quality vehicles. As far as Class Bs are concerned, again, it's the Pleasureways, what they have, and probably Roadtrek. I've looked a little bit at Winnebago, and they just didn't have a floor plan that I liked. Well guys, I have to bring this video to an end. It's running way too long. But at least this gives you an idea of where my head's at right now, what I'm thinking. The next video will be, well, kind of letting you all know what I've decided. Maybe look at a couple RVs. Who knows, maybe even buy something. So until then, y'all take care.